Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. We'll start with the headlines. The Sultanate signs with Saudi Development Fund 2 agreements to finance projects at the Special Economic Zone at Duqm worth 71 million Omani riyals. State Council approves amendments of some rules of laws of combating drugs and psychotropic substances and discusses draft law organizing pharmacology profession. And implementation of the first phase of new residential city project continues in the wilaya of Liwa of the Governorate of North Batana. Those are the headlines, and now for the news in details. The Sultanate expressed its disapproval of statements made by the Foreign Minister of Sweden before the Swedish Parliament against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it condemns these statements and considers them as an intervention in the internal affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The matter that is incompatible with the international law norms of principles and relations among countries. It emphasized that such statements would negatively reflect on relations between Sweden and the Arab countries. The government of the Sultanate signed with Saudi Development Fund on behalf of the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia 2 grant agreements to contribute in financing projects at the Special Economic Zone at Duqm, worth 71 million Omani riyals. The 2 agreements stated to develop the infrastructure of the zone, in addition to establishing fishing port and fish processing areas in Duqm. It came within the context of developmental programs of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. They were signed by His Excellency Darwish bin Ismail al-Balushi, Minister responsible for Financial Affairs, and His Excellency Engineer Yusuf bin Ibrahim al-Bassam, Deputy Chairman and Managing Director of the Saudi Development Fund. The first one is worth more than 17.3 million Omani riyals, while the second one is worth 53.7 million Omani riyals. His Excellency the Minister responsible for Financial Affairs said the agreements came within the context of Gulf program approved to finance some development projects in the Sultanate of Oman, and the Kingdom's share is nearly 960 million Omani riyals. While His Excellency the Deputy Chairman and Managing Director of the Saudi Development Fund said there are numbers of other projects presented by the government of the Sultanate of Oman, and it will be studied and assessed and would be signed in the near future. Agreeing to pre-qualify companies for the tender of Deba Lima Khasab First Stage Road in the Governorate of Musandam topped discussions by the tender board in its 7th meeting of the year. The total cost of awarded projects is worth 5 million Omani riyals. The project of pre-qualifying Liwa Shinas Batana Road in the Governorate of North Batana was awarded. The board also opened envelopes of service projects to be awarded later. The tender board also agreed to award additional works for development projects topped by quantity survey for the National Museum project. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Rashid bin Asaf al-Haraibi, Chairman of the tender board. The State Council today approved the amendments of some rules of law of combating drugs and psychotropic substances, which is forwarded from the Council of Ministers. It has been decided to complete discussion of draft law organizing pharmacology profession and pharmaceutical establishments in the upcoming session. Members of the State Council stressed in their discussions that the law of combating drugs and psychotropic substances will be more deterrent to reduce crimes which happen because of drugs. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfoud al-Mandari, Chairman of the State Council. Hydrography services in the Northern Indian Ocean region and ways of developing its activities topped discussions of members of the Hydrographic Committee of Northern Indian Ocean at the end of the 15th meeting hosted by the Sultanate, represented by the Omani National Hydrographic Office at the Royal Navy of Oman in cooperation with the Ministry of Transport and Communications during the period from the 15th to the 18th of this month. The committee concerned with presenting consultations and recommendations in that related to navigation safety, in addition to providing training services and technical support for the member countries. 16 countries are members in this group, and they discussed numerous evolving matters concerned to the committee in that related to hydrographic services. The aim was to raise up the level of contact and cooperation among the member countries, which will guarantee and strengthen navigation safety. Activities of the training workshop for the Arab Information Network of Labor Markets was opened in Muscat today. It is being organized by the Ministry of Manpower in cooperation with the Arab Labor Organization. The workshop aims to organize and provide data and information necessary to support establishments responsible of labor markets to help unify information sources. The Sultanate is the first Gulf country to host the works of this workshop. The aim is to construct an Arab unified system for labor markets, and the activation of the Arab network and cooperation between producers and users of data information was tackled by the workshop. Each country has efforts in producing information and data, and the Arab Labor Information Network will be able to bring all these efforts together in one place to form a database that can be beneficial to all member countries. And still to come in our news bulletin. In the governorate of Dhofar, a ceremony was held today marking World Defense Day. The team of monitoring and combating diseases approved to continue to carry on epidemic monitoring in all governorates of the Sultanate and to be ready for any development by the health sector. That came during the team's meeting with His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Saif Al Hosni, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Health for Health Affairs, to acquaint with developments of epidemic monitoring in light of the international reports coming from countries that registered an increase in H1N1. The Sultanate had introduced numerous modern detectors and partial tests in the central laboratory, which is recognized by the World Health Organization. The Ministry of Manpower stressed that most challenges the disabled face are related to cultural challenges, like cultures of disabled parents or culture of companies towards the disabled employees. This came at the opening of a workshop in Muscat about employing and enabling the disabled, which the ministry organized in cooperation with International Labour Organization. The workshop aims to come out with recommendations to prepare, rehabilitate the disabled and create work opportunities for them. The Ministry of Manpower mentioned that around 650 disabled are looking for jobs in the Sultanate, adding that more than 1,700 disabled were employed by the end of February. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth started air spray campaigns to combat the Dubas bug, also known as Umatisus libicus bergven, in the governorates of North and South Sharqiya and Dakhiliya. The campaign will cover the rest of the governorates of the Sultanate as per a program prepared by the ministry. The insects affect the production of dates in the Sultanate. In the last 4 years, the ministry was able to control and reduce the spread of this disease to less than 5,000 acres. This year, it appeared again and expanded due to suitable weather conditions for its spread. Exchanging student engineering expertise among educational institutions and providing students with electronic tools and programs were the aims of the 5th Electronic Engineering Forum. The event is organized by the College of Middle East with participation by specialists from educational institutions in the Sultanate. The forum will include workshops that shed light on the role of innovators in the renaissance of the society and practical workshops on ways to transfer the projects from being an idea to a product. An electronic engineering exhibition was also held that contains electronic engineering projects carried out by the students. The Russian fine artist Ilyona Lavina has never visited the Sultanate, but her love for nature and the Omani life elements incentivized her to allocate half of her artistic exhibition for the Sultanate. The portraits reflected the deep-rooted history of the Sultanate and Renaissance it realized during the last 4 decades, thanks to His Majesty the Sultan. The exhibition of the Russian artists included many portraits of some civilizational landmarks in the Sultanate and various aspects of Omani life. The Liwa residential project is regarded as one of the important development projects being implemented by the government to provide decent life for the citizens of the area, which was affected by Sahar industrial port activities. The first tender of this project is site leveling, which started in November 2014 and will end by November 2016. And then the construction of roads for a total distance of 100 kilometers that link all housing districts with each other, in addition to rain drainage at a cost of 25 million Omani Riyals, will start. The basic infrastructure will include water, electricity, wastewater and telecommunication networks. The first, second and third packages of residential buildings by the end of the next month will be delivered, along with a tender of the establishment of 8 schools will be announced for bidding. All phases of the project are expected to be completed by 2017. The Director General of Housing handed over more than 30 residential units to citizens of Uruba coastal area near the wilaya of Ja'lan Bani Bu Ali. It came as part of a social housing project being conducted by the Ministry of Housing and various governorates of the Sultanate. The handing over ceremony of these housing units was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdullah al-Busaidi, Wali of Ja'lan Bani Bu Ali. The project is provided with various facilities that meet the needs of the citizens. In the Governorate of Dhofar, a ceremony was held today marking World Defense Day, organized by the Public Authority for Civil Defense and Ambulance by holding an awareness seminar on limiting calamities' effects. It was accompanied by field visits to schools and preventive exercises to raise up the level of social awareness. The event was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Salim bin Ufayt al-Shamfari, Chairman of Dhofar Municipality. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the Sultanate, with chances of scattered rain in the governorates of Musandam and Hajar Mountains. Winds will be north to northeasterly light to moderate along the coast of the Sea of Oman, while it will be southeasterly light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas will be moderate to rough along the western coast of the governorate of Musandam with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, while it will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.2 meters along the rest of the coasts. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate signs with Saudi Development Fund 2 agreements to finance projects at the Special Economic Zone at Duqm worth 71 million Omani Riyals. The State Council approves amendments of some rules of law of combating drugs and psychotropic substances and discusses draft law of organizing pharmacology profession. An implementation of the first phase of new residential city project continues in the wilaya of Liwa of the Governorate of North Batana. With that, we come to an end to tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, good night.